Welcome back once again, guys, to this tutorial series and my YouTube channel. And in the last tutorial, we created the login endpoint where we generated the access token and the refresh token for the user. We made sure the token expires in 30 seconds. Should in case you skip that part of the tutorial, you can check it on the playlist on how to generate access and refresh token with JWT. Now, on this very tutorial, we'll be generating we want to regenerate the access token. So we'll be working on the second point here, which will be getting a refresh token from the user, and then we'll use that to uh, regenerate an access token for the user. So quickly, without wasting much of the time, let's quickly go to our code editor and put that to practice. Okay, let me quickly create the router endpoint. So I'll call it. I'll also want to make that a post request. So I'll say router.post, and then we'll give it the path name regenerate access token. So we're still also going to create an asynchronous express JS function here because we'll be making some mongoose call, which is mostly going to return us a promise. So we'll have a request, a response. The function is going to be an arrow function, and then we'll have our try catch block once again. So within the try block, that's where we'll go to get, just like we have here, we'll get the refresh token from the user, validate this that the refresh token gotten is valid by checking if it exists on our database, and if it exists, then we'll go right ahead and regenerate a new access token for the user. So first thing first, let's get the refresh token. So we'll get that from access. Sorry, not access token, actually refresh token. Refresh token. This will be coming from request dot body dot access access refresh token. Okay. Now after that, we can just do a quick check if that is not being provided by saying if there is no refresh token provided, then we can just break the user out of the system by telling them please provide a refresh token. So we'll return back with a response. Return res.send with a quick message of please provide a refresh token. Okay, now if a refresh token has been provided, then it will skip this parts of the if the conditional statement by executing the remaining part of the block. So let's quickly validate that refresh token by checking who owns that refresh token in our database, because that's the person requesting for a refresh token. We can get that by saying const user equal to await user instance but find. We want to do a find one this time around, and then we're looking for who owns the refresh token being sent by our express request body, and then we'll check. Now if this token is not valid, that means it's not going to be on our system, so that means there won't be any user. So we say if no user, then you can just quickly break out by returning a response to the user. Return res.send by telling them this token is invalid refresh token. Okay, now But if the token is valid, then it will skip this part of the if condition once again. That means the user is valid, the refresh token is valid. Then we can go, we can quickly get the ID of this very user. So we can pass that as the payload, to get a newly generated refresh access token. So we can say const ID is equal to user dot underscore ID. Okay, now we've gotten the ID. We can quickly create the access token for the user by saying const access token. This will be this will be this is where the JWT we use JWT to generate that. JWT is the sign actually. JWT dot sign, and we need to pass in the ID payload, the ID. Then we need to pass in environmental key, which is secret. So I have that in my .env file. I can get that by saying process.env dot jwt underscore secret underscore access. So this is my secret key, which I've been making use of to generate my access token. And then since it's an access token, I want to give it the duration, how long I want this token to last by passing in the third variable, which is the expires in. And then I want it to still expire once again for 30 seconds. Okay, now at this point we've successfully generated, we've successfully regenerated our access token. Now we can just return by sending the user a response alongside this regenerated access token by saying return res.send we're sending in the access token, to the user. Now, should in case there's any kind of break on our code on the back end, where we'll handle that on the catch block by returning here, return res.send. We'll send a message saying server error, fail to regenerate access token. Access token. So yeah, that's basically it, and we can quickly go to Postman and test this newly created endpoint on our Postman. So I go to my Postman right here, and this user is already registered on the database. Let me try to log in this user once again. Then okay, now this user is logged in, and we have his access token and the refresh token, but we want to kind of get him a newly regenerated access token. So let's quickly go to the endpoint of getting a refresh token. So while that is kind of taking some little timing, I can okay, let me just quickly create that here. The endpoint once again is regenerate access token. Let me quickly copy that so I don't make mistake, in passing the the parameter for the path. So let me try, hitting this endpoint without sending the access token. So we'll get to see those error messages we're sending to the user. So when I try to hit this endpoint, um, okay, so I think I made a little mistake on the path over there. No, sorry, it's actually this one. So yeah, router user. Okay. It's actually a post request, and it's user generate access token. Okay, I think let me just clear this out and then put in the path slash user slash generate access token, and then we pass in refresh token, which is what is required to refresh token. Okay, when I try to submit this, so we're getting this error message of cannot get the path. So let's quickly debug that and check where the mistake is coming from. So the path once again is router.post this, and now this we are getting a 404 error here, which is actually trying to tell us that the path the user is trying to to access does not exist. So this is actually user error. This actually happened as a result of the user trying to connect to a path which is not on our server. So that's when you usually get this kind of error response. So let's debug that to check where the error is coming from, and then okay. Um, the port is on 4303. Yeah, so it's on slash user slash get a refresh token. Let me see what we have for the login. Okay, so this is where we're trying to check that. This router.post here, so that is correct. I don't know why I'm kind of getting this mix up right now. But let me copy those and put it here. Um, okay, let me try to log in once again and see what that will give us. Okay, so the login is working. Okay, let me try to make it with some underscores. But that should actually work like that anyways. Okay, oh no, I think this is where I want to pass that. Actually the problem was I was not passing in the E. That was why we're having that. So it's actually regenerates token, and but when you take a closer look on the side here, the E is missing. So that was why that was failing. That was why it was, sending all this 404 not found error. But now when I try to pass in the correct path, we'll get the proper message on our server. I think there's still a mistake somewhere. Okay, and oh, sorry, I forgot. I think I actually need to start the server once again. Also, the changes we've made is not detected on the back end. So I have to stop this once again, and start the server. So the newly created code, the server has actually been working before I created this endpoint. So I need to restart the server for it to kind of update the code and then have these latest changes we made over there. Okay, now when I hit on the endpoint, we get this, we now get the error message of please provide a refresh token. Okay, that means this error is actually coming from here because there's no refresh token on our request body, and so I have to copy the correct name there and pass it. And since we are passing in an empty string, so it's actually returning false. That is, the refresh token is not provided. But when I try to provide some kind of empty random string, let me just pass anything, any random string over there. So it's actually getting a refresh token this time around, but its refresh token is not valid. So when we try to submit this time around, um, we get this error message of invalid refresh token. So this time I want to get a valid refresh token and then pass it to the endpoint. So let me go to my login route and then get a valid refresh token. So I have that. I can pass in this refresh token to my endpoint. So I believe this refresh token is valid, and then once we submit this, it should generate us a new access token. So when I click on that, and we have our newly generated access token. So this token is now valid, it's now updated. The user can make use of this token, to access this protected route because the time is now, this token is regenerated and the time is now updated once again. So um, that is it for this endpoint, and that is how you kind of regenerate your access token by sending a refresh token to your server. And we'll give a pause here. In the next tutorial, we'll talk about how to log in this user by clearing this refresh token from our server and then sending the user a success message of you successfully log out, and we can then log out the user out of our system. Thank you very much for watching and see you in the next tutorial.